like some weird Hawaiian progressive doom metal.
Well, you're pretty close. You're pretty fucking close. We're going to talk about that coming up here a little bit with the Mead, Metal, and MMA podcast. Good Friday, my friends.
Good day to you, sir.
I guess the final one and the separation of New Mexico to Wyoming, right?
Yeah, indeed. We'll be without internet starting May 1st because I refuse to pay for a full month of shitty mountain internet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a little dubious, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'd rather get back to that High Plains internet.
Yeah, well, which isn't great either, but what the fuck are you going to do?
I'll take
I can't blame you
over speed.
Yeah. You want to pay for a full month and get 10 days out of that shit. So.
But yeah, after that, podcast after that, we'll be back in the Mead Hall proper.
Yeah, that shit's going to be a little weird. I'll probably just address that next week, but because probably the one coming up that should be on the 11th of May, we'll probably do on the 12th, but we'll see. Yeah. There'll be one on the 12th, one way or the other. It just may very well just be Brandon. I don't know. Well, it's where we get together on a weekly basis to talk about three very important factors within our lives. That is the Mead, the Metal, the MMA. Shit, I don't know, man. I've been waiting for spring to actually kind of kick in here in eastern New Mexico because it's still been fucking cold at night. I've been running the furnace all month, basically.
Really? God damn.
At night. And then during the day, then you run the AC because who the fuck wants to sit around and freeze to death at night and sweat your balls off in the day?
Yeah, it does not sound like a way to live. Fucking here, it's like 75, but it's hot as fuck here.
Yeah.
And then Monday, it's supposed to snow 3 inches. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some weird fucking weather this year, and I'm all right. I'm loath to bitch about it being cold because, yeah, here in like a month, it's gonna be ball sweating weather around here. So
right, better
as it gets to be. Of course, hell, who knows, man? I was looking back on I got a little fucking app that throws back. I think it's Time Hop. Throws it back like 4 years ago. I was bitching because it's 100 fucking degrees right now. You know, on this date 4 years ago. Whereas today I'm sitting around, God dang, man, I haven't touched the AC at all, but the furnace ran this morning because it was in the 30s on my drive to work.
That ain't bad. Yeah, here, I mean, I would bitch about P-Town being very consistent with its weather. Lander's got it beat. But it actually has precipitation to go along with it.
Yeah, no, we haven't got much of that shit. Happens once in a while. Something's almost like something fucks up somewhere. Like, oh, there you go, a little bit of rain. A couple of fucking old dudes sitting around bitching about weather. Hey, so how's your week?
Well, I know my tales have been a little lackluster while I've been away.
Shitty. Shitty's the word I heard. That's
apropos. But an interesting thing happened. It happened here in this fine apartment. Carrie has a dog.
Yeah.
And out here,
great big fucking dog. I don't want people thinking this is like a lap dog or something.
This ain't no Shih Tzu. This is like a mutt with German Shepherd, maybe a little bit of Great Dane in him. He's a big.
It's like a holy Shih Tzu. Yeah.
Like Lenny from Mice and Men, only in dog form. So we're out. We have this little veranda. We can go outside, you know, enjoy a cigarette since I can't enjoy any of my other happy smoke. And we're just out there, you know, having a good time. Fucking dog jumps off the veranda.
Are you guys on the first floor?
We're on the second floor.
Oh shit.
And I mean, time just stopped. I saw him jump in slow-mo.
Dog pulled like an Olympic athlete, kind of like a Bruce Jenner back before he cut his junk off, yeah?
Well, yeah, he has no balls either, so it's pretty similar.
Oh.
But, he jumped like a dog would into a pool of water. He had the form, but there was no water. It's all concrete down there.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't fucking crack his skull open or at least break a limb. Dude got out of it with a scraped knee.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we all get one in our lives. You get that one moment, you're like, damn, I could have really fucked myself up on that.
Right.
Well, he's used his. It's, it was pretty goddamn scary. I mean, it's funny now because he's not incredibly hurt.
Not dead.
Or dead, yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds like some bullshit little wiener dog around here would do if it involved cats. I'm convinced he'd probably do some shit like that. But yeah, it's animals can provide some good times and some fucking harrowing times.
Yeah. Oh man. I know they did that study where dogs were smarter than cats. That made me question
it. I think you got to approach that shit on a case by case basis.
Totally. That's with everything. Yeah. Yeah, that was my week. Ate at a place called the Middle Fork for brunch.
The middle finger.
The Middle Finger Brunchery. Yeah, my first time I've ever had a brunch. Of course, I didn't do it legit. I didn't have a mimosa. I had a Bloody Mary with a piece of bacon in it.
Yeah, that's about right.
It was pretty good.
Most brunch places, I mean, it's kind of where you get like, and some of them are like buffets, so they have kind of like breakfasty kind of shit, but lunchy kind of shit, and liquor, So, yeah, so the smart way is just to go with like a goddamn open-faced cheeseburger with an egg on top and a lot of liquor to chase it down with.
That actually doesn't sound too bad. I had a Gouda burger with truffle aioli.
Well, yeah. Aioli is supposed to be like basically manufactured out of very, very thinly minced garlic and some olive oil, and then you kind of just grind it, and then you start whisking in oil, and then until it fluffs up and gets bigger and bigger. These assholes in the food industry, it's basically mayonnaise, and they'll flavor it with whatever it is. So.
Yeah, it was good. It was all right.
Because food industry people are assholes. That's what it is. Garlic aioli, yeah, you know what they're doing? Garlic powder inside of mayonnaise. That's what it is.
It's a fucking revelation.
See, you're drinking a little bit of liquor drink tonight?
Yeah, that's actually cheap vodka and root beer.
Oh, vodka and root beer? Christ, man, I'll be glad when you get back to New Mexico. I'm starting to get a little concerned about you.
I shit you not, man. We go through a half gallon here probably every 2 days.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I don't really assume that you're the one that's putting the bulk of it away, but you never know.
I don't know. She has to sleep sometimes at night, and I don't.
Yeah, that's true. Shit almighty. Well, let's, I don't know, anything else we got of note? I mean, so your root beer and vodka drinks are fine. How's your shopping cart, sir?
It goes lovely with my molded petticoat.
I guess into the Mead portion of the week. Yeah, I'd mentioned we have some folks lined up wanting to donate to the cause, frankly, because they really like our long ships, and that's what we have a lot of right now. So,
right.
That's some other people want to know if I wanted to trade out some Mead for a firearm. We do live in the greater Southwest, so
Oh man, would you take liquor for guns?
I don't know that that'll buy us more music gear, because then I'd have to turn around and sell
more
gun.
Music gear.
Yeah. But, well, as a tourist judge, which I wouldn't mind, because, goddamn, as much camping as I like to do, it wouldn't be bad for that. But I don't have the funds for that shit right now. And it's get us off the track of what the hell we're trying to do. So.
Right.
Because I kind of want to go visual here in the next couple of months at the latest,
Well, you'll be getting donations from me every week or so when I return. So we'll get them in no time.
Yeah. No, that's the effort. The effort is by about mid-June is to try to get this shit up and going. I personally don't think we're much to look at, but that's kind of where I think we need to be if we're going to be just relevant as a podcast on YouTube.
You speak for yourself. we're going to show our faces, we're going to start charging for this shit. Due to the beauty.
You'll start charging people. It's like, we're going to send you this link unless you send us $5.
Use it more as a threat. Yeah, that's right.
Not so veiled threat. That's right. For people that don't follow us on Facebook, you're kind of missing out, because I awoke to kind of an interesting little deal on about Monday, I think, and each day getting a little bit of a surprise, because Brandon has taken it upon himself to start a countdown of sorts.
It was on a drunken whim, by the way. Yeah, I got bored and decided, I have some podcasts that are my favorite, and I wanted them to be back in the light, because it's some of them that I posted have been, gosh, well, number 5 was when we had Ruben on, our first guest, and that was, God, episode 9.
Yeah.
We're in the 70s now.
Right.
Which I was going to put up number 1 today. I'll probably put it up after I upload this. But I guess I could go ahead and announce what my number 1 is here.
I don't know. Do you want to do that? Because it might drive more people to have to check out the Facebook post. But then again, I don't know what the traffic is. I don't know if we have people who listen to this and do the Facebook page. I have a weird feeling there are people who listen to this don't have fuck all to do with the Facebook page, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think it might. I think it's more being stumbled across on YouTube with a little bit of Facebook help from our friends.
I have a feeling. I have a funny feeling I might be able to guess your number 1, but I don't want to steal your thunder because this is your shit. So.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Stay tuned, because that number 1 will be posted tonight. And it's you're probably absolutely correct in your thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I've enjoyed it. It's been nice to go back and revisit these old ones. I mean, just how far it's come, Right.
Like,
after about episode 50, we finally got the shit figured out.
Yeah. It only took us almost a year to kind of get our head out of our ass. And,
that's right. No, it's a fun little romp down memory lane, and I'm glad that YouTube will have them there for posterity. And hopefully people that maybe haven't listened to our earlier shit will go back and give it a listen. And, hell, just 2 drunk people talking about shit they love.
Right.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Sure. Well, back to that, on that vein, as a matter of fact, and it's funny because I get a lot of people saying, hey, I didn't know you were still doing that. It's like, well, when did I tell you we quit? Well, you didn't. I just assumed, which is always the most dangerous thing to do on the planet, right?
Indeed.
To assume something.
That's right.
I'm going to assume Bill Cosby didn't go to slip somebody a Mickey and put his fingers in him,
He don't even own an airplane.
Yeah, turns around, calls the DA an asshole. This is the same guy that dressed down Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle years ago, saying that they don't need to be using that kind of language. And here he is in a fucking court of law calling the DA an asshole. Classy move, Bill. Classy move.
Well, his...
And after his escapades of trying to grab women like a bowling ball, like he's got to hit the old fucking 7-10 split.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. I know Kanye West is probably pissed off, but any day he's pissed off is a good day.
Man, who knew that guy's a Trump supporter? That's the weird thing.
Well, he's got money.
Well, that's true. If you got a lot of money, Trump's probably he should be your guy. I don't know what Hollywood's got up their ass about this guy. So.
He's got money and a Kardashian in his pocket. He is good to go.
Other things, the troublemaker has yet to be racked again. I know this is getting to be like kind of a weird, like week by week watch of like, hey, wait, I thought you said that you and Silker were going to rack that last week. Every time we think about it, we get busy outside doing other shit, and then I kind of forget. And by the end of the day, I ain't got the energy to lift that heavy cocksucker up to get the whole gravity going, to rack it over. So,
fuck that, man. When I get back, we'll have that whole. We'll get it done that first week. I'm back. We'll get it done.
It's definitely not hurting anything. I mean, there are no there's very little in there that would influence anything in a negative way as far as flavors go. It's got a little bit of yeast in there, but it's troublemaker. That stuff is going to be overwhelming on the spices that go in it. You're not going to even know about anything. If it is a straight batch, I'd be a little bit concerned. But being that it is a spiced mead, I've got no concerns about that at all.
And we racked it twice before I left.
Yeah.
So I think we're good.
It'll be fine. I have no concerns about that. Speaking of which, when you get back, not immediately, but within the first couple of weeks you're back, we have to start Green Man in order to have that ready to go by August.
Right.
We've had some calls for people wanting a base mead or batch 1, as it were. Actually, and more calls for the Holly King again, which is weird because we've still got Holly King. I'm not making any new fucking batches of something we've got and we've had for a long time.
Yeah, Holly King's a year and a half old, nearly.
Yeah. Now, granted, to their credit, we did kind of put it on the shelf for a year and didn't allow anybody to buy any of it. But still, I mean, there are still a couple of bottles of that left. I don't know. You know what'd be really cool is if you folks listening would either comment here on YouTube or get over on our Facebook page. Let us know what you want us to do. And if it turns out being a batch that we already still have bottles of, I will let you know what you can do to go about donating to the cause. Because, again, I'm not starting new batches of shit that doesn't move fast. So
there you go. I'm looking forward to that.
And at least if we do batch 1 always moves quickly. And the main reason is because you can do anything with it, you know. Right. You're not locked in. I mean, Troublemaker, it's great. I wouldn't mind cooking some things with it. There are some other things I wouldn't necessarily want to go that way with. I wouldn't use it in a stir fry.
No. Be good with pork.
Yeah, but that's just it. All mead will work with pork, but if you're trying to find something to deglaze a pan and it's supposed to be kind of a light thing, the last thing I'm going to be doing is digging around for a bottle of Troublemaker or Longships.
No. Troublemaker was meant to be enjoyed by the liver.
Which, by the way, and then one of our donors, our favorite bartender, Krista, I don't think we mentioned her in about a month or two, apparently is from the Brandon old school, the Brandon school of how to drink mead properly.
Fucking A.
Me, I will open a bottle of mead. I'll have a glass or two. Somebody's around, might give them a glass or two. I'm going to properly seal it up, put it in the refrigerator until the next time, which might be a week, might be a couple of weeks, when I get it out again, either use it to cook with, maybe grab another glass. No. That's apparently against the social conventions that exist within the Brandon school of thought when it comes to drinking mead, which apparently Krista also holds. And that is where you pull the cork out of it and immediately throw that in the trash and consume in one sitting.
You're getting glasses. You already got a glass.
No, she was talking about that. She said the only problem she has of drinking our mead is she has to block out a lot of time because she has to have it all in one sitting. And I said, wait a minute, that sounds like somebody else I know.
See, it's no longer that crazy, is it?
Other meadery things. I think that about covers it.
Cool. I'm going to go refill my root beer and vodka. So if you want to jump into the next chapter, I shall return.
Yeah, metal is, you talk about a crazy, weird mixed bag this week. Last week, and I knew we were going to get spoiled because last week there were some really, really big releases of some really, really good music. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you might want to go back and listen to last week's episode. But there were some really quality records put out on the market last week. This week I got excited. Huge names across the board. People that everybody's heard of. And I got kind of excited about that, only to discover some of it's a little lackluster. Now, I'm not going to say I sat down and listened to all these numerous times and kind of bore it out to figure out whether or not these things are great from start to finish, the entire record or not. I try to give a reasonable listen to multiple tracks before coming up with, before making up my mind. When you go and see names like Anthrax, they've got a new one out this week or today. It's Kings Among Scotland. I hate to say it, but they actually it is a new record, but they have their old stuff on it as well. I think they have like 2 or 3 tracks that they already had on previous records. And frankly, I haven't been a fan of Anthrax since the early 90s. Yeah, probably like 91, 92, something like that.
Like Madhouse era?
Yeah. So it's not really my shit. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. But the other one I got excited about was Godsmack. Again, a band from the 90s who basically you'd start seeing chicks on the beach out in California with a tramp stamp, and it was always that like Godsmack, little sun, right?
Yeah, the sun right around the belly button even.
Yeah, dudes getting like, that shit on their chest or whatever, on their arm, which admittedly it is kind of a cool graphic, but that's kind of where it ends. When you got a guy in your band by the name of Sully, well, you know where they're from, without having to go any further, but I think maybe that, God, I don't remember if it's their first record or second record because I've never been a huge fan. I try to appreciate, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go out and buy full-length records of theirs. Right. And it's that one, I think, dating back to 95, 94, 95.
Actually, their first album came out,
96?
Super late 90s, like 98, 99.
Really? Well, I thought it was actually like more mid, but it could be later. But again, it's not one I went out and bought. It's one I was kind of familiar with, and that's about it. That's the last time I liked anything Godsmack put out.
Yeah. I bought their first 2 albums.
Yeah.
But again, I was also, the first album came out and I was a senior in high school. The second one came out and I was barely figuring out how to drink liquor. But that first album's pretty good.
Yeah. Because it's going to bug me now because I know they've been around a very long time, but I don't remember what their discography.
The first album was released.
95. Well, they formed in 95. Yeah, but I'm curious when their first record came out.
They released that in August of 98.
All Wound Up came out, yeah, in that era of 95 to 97. But yeah, 98 was, 98. Well, let's call it 98 just for argument's sake. But I've never been a big fan, and what I'm hearing, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Well, they've gone super poppy.
Yeah, man. Well, they've got a video now. If you're looking for some yucks, actually the video I stumbled on was from their new stuff. It's Bulletproof. It's the director's cut. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to get a couple of yucks, there you go. Because it's the band making fun of themselves. That's fine. The one to get excited about this week, maybe, but I'm really hesitant to say that because if you're not into like prog and sludge, I don't know if I check these guys out. Boss Colloid is they have a Melted on the Inch out today, and it's very progressive. I mean like Pale Communion kind of progressive.
Ooh.
But with a kind of a doomy overtone on it, which makes it better than Pale Communion in my opinion. But
right.
But it's a weird mixture. But check it out. Boss Colloid is this band. Our friend Aaron Lambert, he's kind of a freelance writer, a metal writer, kind of lost his shit over these guys. So I kind of had like a high bar. That's the only problem I've got. I really, really had a high expectation level. It's not really my kind of jam. But hey, that doesn't mean it's not yours. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, and a week of desolation as far as music goes seems to be the best thing that's come out this week.
Demon Head, this is a band I thought I knew, but I don't. But they have out an album that dropped today. It's The Resistance is the name of it. They intentionally made it sound, the production values sound kind of like shit, which I kind of applaud to a certain degree, but on the other side of the coin, it's kind of a little weird because it sounds really cheap. It's the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound as independent as they probably wanted it to sound. It just sounds cheap.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, even if it's on accident, it could work out to be in their favor.
Band out of Canada The western part, yeah. Cobra and the Lotus, they have out Prevail too. It's their follow-up album. The lead singer, I think she goes by Cobra Page, I think is her name or something. But she's got some good pipes. My problem is it sounds a little too much like everything else. Metal that has a woman front person, and I'm not trying to be sexist or misogynistic, but a lot of them have a tendency of kind of falling into the same sound category.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like In This Moment type of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Nightwing, I think. Now, they are a little bit weird enough to kind of do their own thing, but it's still a lot of their stuff does kind of fall into the same kind of category where you go, oh, okay, yeah, I know what they sound like.
Yeah. Nightwish is a little more on the operatic side, which I still can take or leave.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I dig it, but most times I don't. But women in metal, it's starting to become a formula just for success.
Which is unfortunate, because I think you're right. I'm not sure what the answer is, but but it is becoming a little predictable. So,
yeah.
Here's one.
There'll be a band that'll come out that'll just be fucking gung ho all broads, and it'll be kick ass.
Yeah, yeah, because I get people telling me like, "Have you ever heard Hailstorm?" I say, "Yeah, every metal band that's got or a heavy rock band anyway that's got a female front sounds just like Hailstorm. I'm sorry."
Well, and that's also what I like to call Lubbock metal.
Yeah, not far off. Hey, here's one, a blast from way the fuck back to the roots of folk metal. And I mean, we're talking like early 90s. I think early to mid 90s. I think around 93, 92, 93. So we're talking like all the way back to like when Skyclad and Falconer were the shit. Crucian, band out of Dublin. They've got 9 Years of Blood out today.
Wow. God damn. Yeah, that's, what has it been, 30 years?
We're coming up pretty close, yeah.
Whew. Damn. I mean, I haven't given it a listen. I'm familiar with them. I'm sure it's probably what they do best.
Yeah. Well, bands like that, they kind of find their sound and they reproduce that sound and keep putting out new records. And the fan base they have, though, may be more and more limited as years go by, still buy the records full length. And so they still make a pretty good coin on what they do. So
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they have a very dedicated fan base.
And then one last one here. If you're looking to get a little weird, Piss River. They're a hard rock act. I know nothing about them, but they are a little bit riffy. And if you want to try something a little bit weird, a little bit different, you might want to get into Piss River.
Dip your toe into Piss River, indeed.
So that's the metal update we've got for you savages this week. There's a lot of other stuff out. This is a week of quantity, not quality. So it is what it is. And hey, if you're a fan of any of those people, I'm not trying to impugn your shit, but I don't stand overly impressed. Last week set a pretty high bar. So
yeah. We do got one decent birthday. Well, I say decent. Born in 1951, one Mr. Paul Frehley, who people probably know by his nickname of Ace Frehley.
Oh, the guy in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, wait.
Ooh, I don't know. The one that went to space.
Yeah, they actually, I guess the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame made Kiss kind of the original four, right?
I think so, but Ace Frehley wasn't there, I don't think.
Well, no, they brought the original. They brought their new lineup, even though the Hall was inducting Ace Frehley and Peter Criss along with the main,
right.
with Paul and Gene Simmons, but which it's just such horse shit. Gene Simmons, first of all, and Paul Stanley, second of all, both need to line up and kiss my ass because they're doing some really goofball nonsense. Gene Simmons still thinks the internet's out to get him, And it's like that's a sales tool, son.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't use the internet to your advantage, you're clearly a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. There's a band out there called Queens of the Stone Age. Well, I think we found the two kings of the Stone Age. Because that's kind of where they're at. Because Gene Simmons is like, nah, it's stealing all my money.
Internet machine's taking all my money. Well, don't worry, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. I think probably an appropriate time, unless you got something else for the metal side. There is a new cut. I don't know who's behind it. Out. Now that we have a Perfect Circle's new release out of the way, and then we started wondering about, well, are we going to get something coming up from Tool? The song Descending has been out there a year and a half, 2 years.
Uh-huh.
There's actually from Tool. There's actually one, and it went under my radar because I hadn't heard this version before, but it came out like 10 months ago, and it's on YouTube titled Tool New Song Descending 2018. Let me see if I can find the details on this bitch right now. But you might want to check it out but it sounds like it sounds like an initial part of a far larger song, which I'm sure it is.
Yeah, Tool rarely. I mean, Tool will do a short song, but they're known for their 7-8 minute long fucking journeys.
Yeah, this actually. I'm trying to find. Any Path is the name of the user that put it up. It came out May 31st of last year, but that's the most recent cut they have of it. Probably you might want to get into that. It'd probably be worth your while. At least to understand where Tool is going to be, I think. It's going to set the tone. I guarantee it's probably going to be like the intro to their lead track on their new record, which I now firmly believe will be out this year because there's no reason to mistrust them at this point now.
No, hopefully Maynard's got his vocals. Vocals should be done because he's about to go on tour with APC, so hopefully that's done and it's all just a matter of mixing.
Yeah, which... fingers crossed, I think we might be at that point. So, we'll see what happens.
Christmas time is usually very kind to us for our music. I mean, that's when we got Paul Bear. Yeah. That's when we got Moon Sorrow. Let's hope we'll get Tool this year.
Actually, I thought Paul Bear was a spring release, but...
was it? I might be.
Late winter, early spring, I think. But, yeah. But, yeah, definitely Moon Sorrow was a release right before Christmas. Yeah,
March 2017, you're right.
Let's move on over to MMA, so that way I can continue to drink some cold beers today and kind of enjoy life out on the porch.
There you go. Last week's card was pretty good. Well, of course, any UFC card apparently has to have a little bit of controversy. Did you catch the fight between Ricky Simon and Merab Dvalishvili?
No, I caught the last 3 fights, 3 or 4. I don't remember if it's 3 or 4.
Basically, David Branch fighting up.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there was a fight. I think it was on the Fox Sports 1 prelims. Ricky Simon had a gnarly guillotine, and he'd been getting his ass beat the whole fight. Just out of nowhere, sunk this guillotine choke in, and the fight ended. It was third round. The fight was over. Merab looked like he was out. So instead of going to the cards, referee Liam Kerrigan called it a technical submission. Well, actually, no, I take it back. He called it a TKO at first.
Yeah.
Because Merab just looked like he was out. But, I mean, he was probably gassed, tired, and probably a little out of it due to lack of blood to the brain. But they ended up giving the fight to Ricky Simon. Much to the chagrin of a lot of people.
Yeah, that sounds a little shady. What's with all the weird stuff that happens that if it's anywhere within about a 150-mile radius of New York City, you get weird shit on your cards?
They started great. 205 worked out great for them. Ever since, though, it's been garbage. They've always had to deal with something afterwards.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about this. I mean, the New Jersey obviously has their own athletic commission.
Yeah.
They have to, right?
Yeah.
Because there have been fights in New Jersey before, and that was before New York approved. See, the only reason I was asking is because I know that they've combined on a lot of other shit, like basically the Port Authority there is both states. A lot of their transportation stuff is both states, but the athletic commissions obviously are separate. But you don't get away from controversy though by putting it over right across the river there and putting it into New Jersey, away from New York. So
No, you absolutely don't. Another weird thing is we had Keith Peterson was reffing on this card.
right, yeah, Mr. Longsleeves, yeah,
He only reffed the main event. That was it.
right.
I thought that was a little weird.
Well, and he was about the only one that I even recognized. Well, now granted, again, I only watched like the last 4, but I mean, they're rolling out guys I'd never heard of.
Yeah, really. They had two. They had good. I mean, Keith Peterson's a good ref. Mark Goddard's a good ref.
Oh, was Goddard on that one?
Yeah, Goddard
I guess
did
so.
the heavyweight fight and the Edgar Swanson
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So they bring in their big guns for at least the top fights that are on that card then.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all, I mean, it was a pretty decent night. Edgar needed the win, and he got it. He didn't get it in spectacular fashion. That was actually a safe fight between both fighters.
Right.
But they still got
Yeah,
fight of the night.
Cub Swanson never, well, yeah, I mean, because both those guys are going to probably throw some volume. Cub Swanson never looked like he was in a position to probably try to get the momentum out of that fight or take it to the ground, which is not going to be his game anyway. Frankie's a way better wrestler anyway, but Cub Swanson has no answers for the answer.
Yeah. That was very good. Yeah, Cub Swanson is basically the new Uriah Faber. He's Uriah Faber.
Kind of, yeah, in a lot of ways. Yeah.
I mean, he's a kick-ass guy. If you can beat Cub Swanson, then you can go on to fight people like Frankie Edgar, maybe a Brian Ortega, or a Max Holloway. And then you had your main event.
And they got that fight set up between Ortega and Holloway coming up for what, June or July?
That's the International Fight Week. That's July, yeah.
That's going to be something. International Fight Week. That's the problem. International Fight Week, they string together so many great fights, and none of them hold up. You know,
I mean, 200 came out
usually
pretty good. Even though
200, well, even 200, they still had to fill. They had to bring back Brock Lesnar just to make that card.
Yeah, and you saw Cormier fighting Anderson Silva at light heavyweight.
Right.
And you had a terrible fucking canvas to fight on. Jesus, I hope they never do that again.
It's yellow. Like, well, it's gold. It looks like somebody needs to drink a quart of water. That's what that canvas looks like.
That is sun chip yellow, sir. But really, the only fights going, UFC doesn't have anything going on until 225. 225, 226.
Yeah.
There's a big... The Nunez and the other lady fighting.
Right. Yeah, down in Brazil. Not Pena. Pennington, yeah. So, it's fine. Whatever. What I'm excited about, if you can get excited about it, a Bellator card.
Indeed.
Tomorrow is going to be pretty lights out. And I think probably in quite a literal way. I keep getting the vibe Bellator is fixed, though, in some ways.
Yeah.
When it involves old veterans that have no place fight in the octagon anymore, and Bellator signs them to millions and millions and millions of dollars. Fedor. But then they bring in like really ancient guys too that are dirty. You know, they piss hot for the UFC, so they get bounced. Frank Mir, who I think basically will be a Hall of Famer, right? I think at some point. If I had to go out on a limb, I'd say that guy's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he's the only guy to knock out Nogueira, and he didn't make Nogueira tap, but he did break his arm.
Yeah. I mean, and he really, really held sway over that heavyweight division for a very long time. It took Brock Lesnar to come in to kind of change some things up.
Yeah, and even that first time Brock failed. I mean, a lot of that he put on Yamasaki. Was it Yamasaki or Mazzagatti?
Mazzagatti, that's one of his
Mazzagatti.
black
Mazzagatti
marks. Yeah,
ruined that whole thing with the stand-up. But Brock came back, beat his ass, and made it right.
But I get the weird feeling occasionally that Bellator is not above board if it's a couple of old guys. I'm not saying that about their new fighters or the guys that they bring over from the UFC that are actually still really good and active, like Rory McDonald. But when you've got
Gegard.
Yeah, but when you've got Fedor Emelianenko fighting Frank Mir, 2008 would have been a great year for those two to fight.
Damn
2018, that's a little weird. I don't know.
I will still watch that fight just because of who it is, though.
I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying I think the circumstances might be a little weird. Whoever's taken the fight to the other one in the early going of the first round, look for that guy to lose. That's the Bellator setup.
I look for Fedor to pressure and Frank Mir to basically trap him, potentially break a limb on him.
Well, if that happens, then I will know that the fix is not in. And so there you go. Frank, for Bellator has to have Frank Mir break somebody's limb in order to make it look legitimate for yours truly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see. It was, oh, God, who beat Frank Mir for the belt? And then Stipe knocked him out. The Brazilian. Fabricio.
Right, yeah, Verdum, yeah.
Sure. Verdum's the only one that's made Fedor tap, and that was in Fedor's heyday.
Yeah.
I think that was actually Fedor's first loss ever.
Right.
And now he goes through losses. It's no big deal to see Fedor lose now. But we might see Fedor getting an arm bar or key lock or something that he won't tap from, and Mir will break his arm.
Well, yeah, if there's a guy that's going to end up trying to resist that, yeah, that'd be Fedor.
Yeah, see McGarrett.
I don't know. So I want to see it. The problem is they're putting it on Paramount, which is virtually unwatchable for a lot of the country. But they'd be better placed putting that shit on pay-per-view is all I'm saying.
So it should be fun. I mean, hey, you're not busy jerking the old gherkin. Maybe you folks should check it out.
Well, let's head to the big old wrap-up, unless you got anything else stellar having to do with MMA.
Not particularly. It's a pretty slow week.
All right. Well, next week I will go ahead and, I'll see if I can get Ruben down here next week and see if he can fill in for you since you're going to be without the interwebs.
That'd be awesome. He needs to get back on there. He told me he was going to be doing his homework on MMA. I would like for him to be tested on that.
Well, yeah, but I'm not an asshole. I'm not going to probably test him on it. I'll let you do that.
Well, I'll do that then. I'll take care of that shit.
All right. On to our picks for the week. Beverage of choice. I'm assuming yours must be the classic cocktail of root beer and vodka.
I'm out of root beer now, so I'm going to be making the jump to Hawaiian Punch orange beverage and vodka.
Well, there is no shame in throwing that damn vodka bottle in the freezer and then just walking by every 20, 30 minutes and pulling a little shot from it like I did studying for final exams when I was in college.
Well, my only problem is I can't do that. I'll hang by the freezer.
And I was doing that shit with Stolies and not like Crystal Palace.
Oh, yeah, you're doing it with quality, then. Yeah, moderate form of quality. But yeah, I'm going to go Hawaiian Punch orange flavor and vodka.
Well, I have no hard liquor here at that. Whoa, I take it back. I'm going to go Glenlivet 15.
Oh, you fucking bastard.
Yes. So I forgot that our good friend Bobby, resident artist around here, got me that for my birthday. So that's what I'll be slugging back.
Fucking A. Metal pick.
All right. Over to picks on metal. I'm just not a fan of this week. Here's what I would like you to do for homework, though. Check out Mantra.
Mantra?
That's Dave Grohl and Trent Reznor. And the dude from Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, Josh Homme?
Yeah. Those three dudes, and I don't remember how long ago it came out, but that one might be one for a little bit of research for you this evening. Damn,
I'll certainly be checking that out. I'll probably be listening to Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction beginning and end tonight. It's been a while since I've listened to Angry Ginger.
Yeah, not a bad way to go. And by the way, I looked into Metallica tickets because they're playing in Lubbock coming up March next year, and they're already selling. I thought it was a little shocking. They discounted them like, hey, you get 5% off if you buy your tickets now. They had one that came out today. They're discounting 10% now.
Wow, is it not selling good?
I don't know. I mean, your cheap, your nosebleed seats are like $90.
A little less than Paul McCartney.
anything reasonable, that's down actually lower level, it's over $180.
Damn. God damn, that's too much. That's too much.
That is too much. I agree.
I
mean, if they had,
I paid $60 to see Metallica on their St. Anger tour when that arena was brand new.
Yeah.
I could feel Lars Ulrich's ball bag sweat hit me in the forehead.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I'm probably still not going to buy Metallica tickets for next year. So.
That's right, dude. We'll park in the Covenant Hospital parking lot. We'll be able to hear the whole thing.
Yeah. All right. Picks for I guess the only thing going on, unless you want to go old school out of the library, but I'm going to go Frank Mir by a weird knockout, not even a submission.
I'm going
tomorrow
Frank
night.
Mir via painful submission.
Yeah. Good pick. All right. Well, I think it's time for us to go ahead and wrap this up. Our newest American citizen is just now walked in the door from getting sworn in earlier.
Welcome to America.
Woke up this morning with an exotic German girlfriend. Now I'm just dating some American broad.
Boring.
That's exactly what Silka said too. But all right, that's. And then the other one now. Check out Descending from Tool, because I think that's going to kind of be a tone setter for their record coming out later this year. So
I'll be checking those out for sure.
All righty. Well, that's going to do it for us this week, folks. It's going to be me and somebody next week. 2 weeks after this, probably 2 weeks from today, it might be Brandon and somebody. So we'll see what happens. All right. Well, you shitheads, don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything immoral. Tom Brokaw's got you covered.
Oh, burn.
And we're going to get into our Friday. I recommend you do the same.
I'll see you in 2 weeks, Mead Hall.